Hello, everyone. It's like everyone's filing in. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Dondi. I'm with FloraCraft, and today we are making these cool faux concrete Easter eggs, and you can do them in any color. There's a blue, purple, and a greeny colored one. And then if we go to top down, I'll show everyone what I used on this project. So to start out, we used our 6-inch white CraftFōM egg. And then for inside the bottom of the little pot, to hold the egg, you'll need a 2-inch CraftFōM egg or ball. We're going to cover the egg with this Paperclay. It's a clay that air dries. You can shape it, you can sand it, and you can paint it. So it's a really nice choice for this project. You're going to need some paint. So you'll need a drop cloth and some gloves if you'd like. I'm going to do the pink one today. So you'll need a light gray to base coat your egg, and then a darker gray to highlight, just to give some highlights, just some contrast, and then the pink to add the color. And then you can do your painting with whatever you have. The natural paint sponge will work the best. It'll give you that mottled look of the paint. But you could also use a foam brush, you could use a regular brush, or you can use a stencil brush. And I'll kind of try to show you. I actually used the sponge, but in case you don't have one of these, I just wanted to try a couple techniques, and we'll just do it together and figure it out. You're going to need some paper toweling, some water. I did grab these little picks, and I used these to secure the eggs into the pot. And then I found some really pretty little beads, or what are they? Berries, maybe? Little berries. And then this one, I apologize, I already cut apart because I thought I had another one, but it's a stem. It has 3 little mini hydrangea on it. So you'll need one of those. And then to paint on, I'm just gonna paint on this little placemat that you can put down a piece of plastic or whatever you need. And to roll out your clay, you'll need some kind of a silicone mat or some kind of surface that that your clay is not going to stick to. So before I get started, if you have any questions, we have Miss Tony moderating remotely today. So she'll be able to answer any questions that you have. And also the class today is being recorded. So within 12 to 24 hours, you'll be able to watch it on Michael's YouTube channel. So to start out, we're just going to get our paper clay out. And you're going to want to roll out a piece big enough to fit all the way around the egg. And you can use a regular rolling pin. I found this fondant roller to be kind of nice because it has these little bands on it that makes it so that you're rolling it out to an even thickness. And I imagine if you don't have a rolling pin, you could probably just flatten it out as easy as you can with your hands. I've not worked, this is the first time I've ever worked with this plastic or this paper clay. So obviously don't need any experience to play with it. Let's get this nice and thin. And I'm going to say this is probably about maybe 1/8 of an inch when it's all done. Little splits, it just slides, it sticks back together really nice. It's really nice clay. Looks like that's going to work. Got kind of a funny little top here, but I think it'll be all right. All right. And all I did was just literally just laid my egg in the middle and just start pressing the clay onto it. And if it doesn't go all the way around, I'll show you how to, you can piece it. It works really good to cut off this extra with our scissors.
We also have a suggestion, Dondi, to use a piece of PVC pipe if they don't have a roller handy.
That's a good idea. I was trying to rack my brain to try and think of some things if they didn't have a rolling pin, because like I don't have a rolling pin at home. But I was thinking like what would be smooth and same size all the way around. But yeah, PVC pipe is perfect. So yeah, you're just patting it on, trying to get out all the air bubbles. If you have little spots that don't have it, we'll go back in and fill those in. And I just kind of make a pleat and then cut off the pleat and then just pinch it together. Like I said, this stuff just is really fun to work with. Where do we have people watching from today, Tony?
It looks like so far we just have one person that shared from Ridgefield, New Jersey.
Let us know where you're from, you guys.
We have Woodinville.
Do we have our Ludington girl on?
Not familiar with. Texas, Canton, Michigan, Miami,
Miami.
Las Vegas,
Oh, fun.
Chesapeake, Philadelphia. Got somebody from everywhere.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. So then for these little guys, I stick it like in the middle and then just tear and kind of try to follow the rim of the other piece and then just push it on there. Now when these are drying, you can either let it dry with a crack like I did, just because I wanted it to look like cracked concrete. But it says that as it dries, if you don't want to show the cracks, you can either add material as it's drying, or you can add material after it's totally dry. Then you can just like fill the cracks like Bondo almost with the clay. So there's a couple different ways to do it. So just cut a piece that kind of fits the hole and it's not very good. And tear off what you don't need and pinch it together. We have people crafting along today. So if you are crafting along, or if you're gonna watch and craft later, don't forget to post your finished project onto hashtag Make It With Michaels or hashtag Michaels Classes or hashtag FloraCraft. We'd like to see too. And I'm sure that one of our lovely ladies will put those in the chat for you. Let's see how I'm just kind of rub it with your thumb or your fingers and just fill it in and mold it together. And it also says that if this stuff gets a little bit dried out while you're working with it, you can add a little bit of water to it and it will moisten it right back up and allow you to keep working.
Yeah, we had someone in the chat that said you can wrap it in wet paper towels while it dries to lessen cracking that happens during that.
Oh, thank you for that. Perfect. Like I said, this is my first time playing with it. So if you do want it to crack, everywhere where you put this together, you can kind of leave it rough. You can kind of leave it rough like that, and that will make a kind of a cool textured look to your foam, to your egg also. Or you can just as easy as just rubbing it with your finger, it just smooths it right out. And thanks for the good tip about leaving wet paper towel so it dries a little slower and then it won't crack. Good tip. All right, so that's basically it for covering it. Like I said, it's about a 1/4 inch. No, it's not. It's about an 1/8 of an inch-ish, maybe 1/16 of an inch thick on here. I just rolled out a nice big piece and I've just been kind of forming it and molding it around this foam egg. And then this stuff dries with this thin of a coat. It's probably going to be probably overnight. What I found with mine is I did it yesterday. I did the pre-done one yesterday about 4 o'clock. And when I got in this morning, just where it was laying on the table, like this, the top part was all dry, but where it was sitting on the table was still a little bit damp. But probably an hour, I guess. And if you put a pick in the bottom of it and so that it wasn't laying on something, it might even dry completely overnight. So the first thing you're gonna do to make it look more like concrete is I just base coated it with just a plain gray paint, any gray paint, matte finish paint will work. And you're gonna let that dry totally.
Dondi, do you think that there's a benefit to using the open cell foam versus smooth foam for this?
Yes, there absolutely is. What happens is our CraftFōM being porous grabs onto that clay and holds it in place a lot better than the smooth foam would. It's not gonna grab onto the foam. So I'm gonna put some gloves on because I think we're gonna get messy. Or I know I'm gonna get messy.
We also have a great suggestion to dry it on a baking rack.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And then if you had any little lines from the baking rack, you can just use a real fine grit sandpaper and it sands really nice, smooth. All right. I've already put a little bit of paint on here. I will show you what I did first. So first thing I did, get your sponge wet or your whichever tool you're using. Want to get it a little bit wet And then if you're using a little tray like this, I even put a little bit of water in the tray and just pick a little bit up with my sponge as I go. So the paint is a little more watery. So pick up a little paint, pick up a little water. And I am not a professional painter. I just play one on TV. So if there are more tips out there about a better way to do this, I will take them. So to highlight all these cracks, all I did was take the dark gray, or the darker gray, and I just literally went in and soak it right into those cracks. So just let it soak right in there. And that's just going to highlight them and make a little darker. Now, if you don't want cracks and you want yours to be smooth, then I would just do this. I just do this black, and it's just to add a little contrast and a little depth. So I just kind of do it all over it. But if you want to highlight those cracks, just make sure it gets in there real good. And it's going to look like a mess at first. Oh, and as you can see, I did put a pick in the bottom of it to hold on to while we're doing this. And then with a damp paper towel, you can just blot away the majority of that black. And that's just going to give you just a little bit of contrast, give you a little depth, make it look like the concrete's a little pitted and old, aged.
Don, do you have someone that asked if you could use leather stamping tools to make a texture?
Absolutely. Yeah, this stuff, it holds its form really nice. They say that you can mold with it, you can sculpt with it. Yeah, you could absolutely do a texture. Am I frozen? Oh, there I am. So yeah, it's real soft and nice clay. All right, so that's the black. That's the second coat. That's, like I said, to add the depth. And then you'll want a little container of water close by to rinse out your sponge or your brush to go to the next color. Yeah, so if you were using, say you want to use, I mean, it's just all the same. It'll be all the same, whether you use a sponge or a regular paintbrush or a stencil brush or whatever you're doing. You just want to get a little bit of water with that paint so it's a little bit thinned down. And you would do the same thing. You go in with the cracks, make it a little mottled texture. And then same with anything you use, really. And the stencil brush is going to do that same thing. Might give you a little different texture. Yeah, that would give you kind of a more fine little texture. You can take that back off. So whatever you're using, that's all we're doing, is we're trying to make it actually kind of messy. All right, now let's go play with our paint. Same thing. I do have some clean water over here so we don't get gray in our paint.
So Dondi, it seems like you could almost use a lot of things as a tool to paint this with, even like a rag if you don't have brushes, because
For
you're just
sure.
looking at texture.
I mean, even just the paper towel alone, just using that and dab that in the water, or I'm sorry, in the paint, and use just the paper toweling to sponge on, that would absolutely work too. Yep. So then same thing with the pink. Just gonna go through. We're just gonna blob it, whatever you're using. Just gonna stay with the sponge. Now to make this a little, the pink show a little bit more and not be so light, you could let this almost dry a little bit and then come back and rub some off, and it might be a little darker for you. Or you could come back and do another coat of the pink over top of the first one. And that would probably darken it a little bit too. I just wanted just a little bit of a tint, almost like it's dyed. And I'm back with my paper towel. Take that back off and blend it in. And then you could also take, you could take white, you could go over top of this with white and make it a little bit antiqued maybe. And of course, I mean, you could paint them solid colors too. The other thing I thought would be really pretty is the napkin decoupage, where you take the napkins and you peel off just the top layer like Plaid does with their napkin decoupage and their Mod Podge. You could do a really cute Easter napkin on here. Be really pretty. And I think I want a little more pink. Is that even showing up? Not hardly. I'll put a little more on there just so it'll show up for camera. There, now you're kind of seeing it.
Does anyone else find it incredibly relaxing to watch Dondi paint things?
That's what a gal said last week. She doesn't craft with the video. She just likes to watch just because it's relaxing. That's like that Bob Ross. I mean, not only could you just sit and watch him all day, but you could just sit and listen to his voice all day. I don't know that you'd want to listen to my voice all day, but that's it. Like I said, if you want to take some white over the top, maybe dry brush some white and highlight that that crack yet a little bit more. But that's kind of the gist of it. And you can play with the paints. You could make it two-tone. You could, I mean, it's really up to you. That's the gist of it. That's the wrap it with paper clay and a base coat of light gray. Use the dark gray to highlight cracks if you have any cracks, and to just give it that contrast, a little bit of depth in there to age the concrete a little bit. And then your top color or your top coat is whatever color you choose. Or all three eggs. I mean, how cute would 3 of these be sitting on your little mantle or in your windowsill or down the middle of your table? Right.
Do you know that when the clay dries, if it's really hard, if you drop it, if it might break?
It is really hard. I don't believe that it would break on the egg, but I'll show you a piece. This is a piece that I have that I took off the egg just to see, and it's, I mean, it breaks, but it's pretty solid for being that thin. It's pretty solid. You know, it holds its shape. But yeah, it could break. All right, so after that dries, oh, and that's the other thing I forgot to tell you guys. So you're gonna need these little, I found these at Michael's also, just little cute little planters. I mean, you could use absolutely anything that you want. Even a little candlestick would work, candle holder for these would work, but I found these little guys and I thought they were really cute for this project. And those were at Michael's also. So I'm gonna kind of dismantle this one so I can show you what I did. So here's where you would add your 2-inch ball, and you're gonna put that right down and glue it right down in the bottom of that pot or whatever you're using. If the pot that you're using has a bigger hole in the bottom, then find a little bit bigger foam ball that'll work for you. I just liked that in there just so that I didn't want to glue the egg in the pot. So I have options if I want to change it and do something else with the egg. It's not glued inside there. But yeah, you put the little, I used actually this is a floral pick. But I found these little craft sticks at Michael's and I think they would work really well for doing this. And you get a whole 130 of them so you can have them for future crafts. They're just a nice size. So you're gonna glue your pick inside the bottom of your egg, and you might need something sharp like a little knife or a end of a scissor to get through the paper clay. And just poke a little hole just enough to get your dowel in there and glue it in so it's nice and sturdy. And then we'll just pop it right in there. That holds it nice. And you can glue it into that foam ball. So if you put a little bit of glue on the end of your pick before you put it in the ball, it'll stay nice for you. So then I just cut apart this hydrangea. There was 3, I believe, on this stem. Like I said, I cut it apart before I realized I had another one. So all I did was just pulled a little leaf off, and I just wedged it because there's a little bit of a gap. So I just wedged it in there. And it stays pretty nice. So we can just stick that in there as a little decoration. And it's just super cute just by itself. Or like I said, if you did 3 of them. Or if you want a little extra fun with your project, give it a little more interest, I took and cut out the inside and made a little, what do you call it? What do you call it? Oh, I can't. A little scene. There we go. So I found these little cute little bunnies at Michael's, a little bit of floral moss, and then I just trimmed off some little flowers from the big piece and added them in there and glued them in place. And I mean, am I frozen again? Okay, I'm back. So isn't that adorable? Isn't that fun? Do you guys want to see how I did that? How I cut that out of there?
Yes, they like it in the chat.
Okay.
And someone said it's a diorama.
There you go. That's a good one. Okay, all I gotta do is find.
Oh, we do have a question on if that's foam, and yes, that is the same foam egg. So you just cut that out.
Excuse me?
Someone asked if that egg that you just showed was foam.
Yes. Yes, that is foam underneath. So you can either draw with a pencil or just start cutting. And I mean, I literally used a Stanley knife. I think it's the best choice. You could probably just use a kitchen knife. You could use, I'm not sure. Just be careful if you're using this. All I did was just start, say about right here, and you're just gonna pop through that clay. Like I said, be careful.
Dondi, I guess that this little diorama scene is also called a vintage sugar egg. And I just Googled.
There we go. Sugar
it.
egg. That's what it reminds me of.
They look very fun.
Uh-oh. So you might do that, but that's okay because we can glue that right back on. Just save your pieces. That's just because I got too close to a crack. So, and if you're lucky, you'll go right around and meet your other line, and then we can just pop this off of there. Look at that. All right. I did forget a spoon. My goodness, I'm just leaving you guys hanging today. So there's a couple things that you can use to get the insides of this guy out. A regular old teaspoon, or a little measuring spoon, or a little melon baller, or whatever you have that will scoop foam. And you literally just scooping it out. Like serving up ice cream.
We have a question from Janet. She says, couldn't you cut while clay was wet or cut foam before you add the clay?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can, and like Jordan said, if you do that, you can actually add the paper clay inside this hole too. But I just wanted to show you guys that it's easy to do. And I actually didn't think of it before I did the project. So after I did the project, and I said, well, shoot, I could have followed those out and put a little scene in there. But yeah, good idea. Definitely, if you want to hollow it out, do it in advance. And then you'll have the, I mean, you could always go back after you do this and add clay inside here. But it probably would be a little easier to do it all at once. And then you just start fine tuning it. So you'll just kind of scrape at it and make it smooth. This just shows that you really don't need special tools to play with foam. You can really use anything.
Someone said, I love how Dondi responds when something goes a tad wrong, teaches us it happens and it can be reworked.
We're all human, right?
We all also have a question on, can you paint the foam?
Yes, actually that's what I did with this one. I didn't add any clay to the inside, I just left it foam, and then I just painted it with the same color that I top coated this egg with. So you can leave it just foam. It paints real nice. But that's it, you guys. I use my thumb to smooth out any other little areas that look kind of rough, and that's really all it takes. I did take a sanding cloth or a pad, and you can go along and sand all that smooth so it doesn't look so jagged. And then when you paint your inside, just go around and touch up that outside edge that you sanded. And now I don't know where my little piece went. There it is.
What type of paint do you suggest best for painting foam, Dondi?
Acrylic. Any acrylic paint works beautifully. You can use spray paint. The thing with spray paint is you have to make sure that you keep it that 12 to 14 inches away from the foam when you're spraying it, because people say that spray paint will melt foam, and it will, but it's the propellants in the can. Am I frozen again? Am I back? Okay. Am I back?
It's only just it's just your front view that's frozen, but the overhead is
Okay.
working just fine.
Okay, good. I forgot what I was saying. So go ahead and paint that surface again with whatever top coat and whatever you're using on the inside, just to blend it in. But spray paint, if you hold it that 12 to 14 inches away, the propellants in the can will kind of dissipate, and the paint won't eat the foam. If you want a dark color, if you want to get a solid color with spray paint, you'll want to spray paint a light coat on and let it dry, and then spray paint your second coat, let it dry, and then it might even take a third coat depending on how solid of a coverage that you want to get with the spray paint. But it's doable. You can use spray paint. All right, and then all I did I painted the inside, of course, and then just grabbed a little piece of floral moss. And like I said, I put the little bunnies in there and just clipped a few flowers off of here that you don't really see, and added those in there also. And I guess, are there any more questions? Anything I can show you guys again? Any techniques you'd like to see again? There is another way if you are not a fan of painting and you want to do a nice clean project that doesn't include paint. I used this guy, found a different little container at Michael's again, and some cute little pink flowers. And this one, I just used Model Magic, and it's like a light blue. So they have, I'm sure you guys have seen the Model Magic air dry clay, but it comes in, geez, I don't know, 24 colors or something. So you could make these any color you wanted. You could even do a base coat with one color and do little decorations or something with another color, add it to it or something. But this would be a good way to cover your egg and not have to paint. You want to try it with little ones and you don't want to make a mess.
Dondi, we have questions on where you found the little bunnies.
I found them.
Oh, and Felicia added a link for you in the chat.
Oh, good. because I can't remember. I want to say they were right by like the floral mosses and all the little minis. There was butterflies over there and little berries, and they're all in little packets of little minis. And I'm pretty sure it was by like the reindeer moss and floral moss and all that when I found them. And they come two in a pack. That little stand-up guy and that little lay down guy are in there together in the package. I don't know that I have the container the package anymore. Can look real quick. See if I kept it. Yeah. So it's Art Minds. You guys hear me? It's Art Minds mini embellishments or mini decorations. That's what, and it just come in a little bag, little poly bag, but it's Art Minds is the brand.
Do you think if someone doesn't have a glue gun, would regular glue hold?
The little pieces that might fall off? Sure. Yep, I bet they were. It would. It's paper clay, so it it has a little texture to it. So I think just white Elmer's glue would probably work fine. Yep. Yep. Is that it for questions today?
It looks like the last question that you had was wondering if you had a sample of multi-colored egg, like a dyed egg.
No, I can do one of these multi. Do you want me to add a color to one of them and see what it looks like?
Let's
We
see.
got a little bit of time.
Oh, yes, she said
Oh.
please.
Okay.
And then did you speckle the interior paint or is that just the texture from the foam?
That is just the texture from the foam. Yep, that's just a solid coat of this. I don't know what it's called. Green sea, but it's just like a light green. So do you want me to add green to this one, or do you want me to add some pink to this one? Does it matter?
Yeah, you decide.
All right. I'll throw on a glove and I'll add a little pink to this one and just see what it does. I think it might show up a little more.
Tie-dye is very in right now.
All right. All right, and I'm gonna remove these so I don't get them all over. Just leave it right in there. Oh, that's cute already. Good idea. Yeah, it's kind of making it kind of fun for sure. We'll use the crumpled up paper towel and blend that in a little. Is it showing up on camera? Kind of.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
And then just kind of wipe away what you don't want. And blend it in as you go. If you have any hard lines, you get this a little bit more wet and it will blend them even nicer for you. Some pink in there around the edge.
Danny, can you tell us again the initial rolling out of the clay at the beginning? I believe we had someone that started a little bit later.
Sure. So I used just a I used a mat that the clay's not going to stick to. And then I liked this fondant roller because it has these rings that keep your clay the same thickness. And you're just going to grab a pretty good sized chunk of clay. You want it big enough to be able to wrap around the egg, and if it rolls out and it's not quite enough, it doesn't matter because you can piece it together after you get it on there. But I just kind of made a little cake and just started rolling it. And this clay is really soft and really nice to work with. Sandable, paintable, moldable. It's really nice stuff. And it blends together really nice. That's all I did. Just keep picking it up so it doesn't stick. And all you bakers are probably going, lady, not how you roll stuff out.
I liked someone suggested if you don't have a rolling pin to use a wine bottle as your excuse to always keep wine stocked.
Like it. And the best thing about it is the wine bottle would work whether it was empty or not, right? So you get thirsty while you're working. But that's it. That's all I did was make a kind of a long oblong shape. And
And what's the difference between the paper clay and the magic?
well, the magic doesn't really sand as nice. I guess, I don't know, you know, I never really tried to sand it because it goes on so smooth. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it kind of sands. And I imagine it would paint too. The only reason that I showed this clay and not instead of this is if you don't want to paint it, you already have your color. But putting it on, rolling it out, and here it adhered to the foam, it all acts the same way. The only difference that I really found is this clay's a little bit smoother. I mean, yeah, I guess you would see, you kind of know when you're working with it. This is almost softer. Like you could put, like the one gal said, could you texture it with leather tools? And I think that this would be nicer than the Elmer's for that. So then this one's already has the paper clay on it, but after I rolled it out like this, I just set the egg on there and you just literally just start wrapping it around the egg. And that's all I did to cover it. And it's going to take about 24 hours, maybe a little more to dry.
Does
this
the
is such a
magic, oh, I'm sorry, does the magic clay dry to the same texture as the paper clay, or is it still more moldable?
That's one thing is this dries and you could still like put your fingernail in it. It's not as hard of a finish. So it's still pretty soft. And like I said, if you nick it, you could put dents in it or fingernail marks in it. So this isn't as strong or as sturdy as the paper clay is when it's dry. Still stays pretty soft. You have any other questions on there?
Great. It looks like the only other question is when you're rolling it out, what other options? Someone asked wax paper, parchment paper, Tupperware pie making mat. So
Definitely. Yep.
really just finding anything that doesn't stick to, you suggest?
Yep, and then actually, before I found this, I used, you know, the cling wrap that's sticky on one side. So it would stick to the surface so that when you're peeling it up, you're not constantly fighting peeling the paper back from the clay. So that might work too, that something seal. Cling
Great.
wrap, but it has sticky on one side. Until I
think
cook a
that
lot.
does it for questions. Everyone really enjoyed this one. We have a lot of love in the chat. So
Good, good.
another great project, Auntie.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming and making it fun with FloraCraft. Don't forget to post your finished projects to Make It with Michael's or Michael's Classes or FloraCraft. All right. I guess that's it then. Till next time. See ya.